Well, 2025 definitely has not gone to plan so far. Definitely not the exciting post-halving year that we typically see. And once again, we've had another event that has caused just this sea of red in the market, this sea of red for ADA. And I think we can all agree that that war sucks, not just because we see red in the charts like this, but because of the loss of life. Loss of life is never a good thing, and don't like what's going on overseas. And obviously, that is causing some stir in the market right now. And I want to talk about just a couple things that could potentially play out here. Do want to talk about actually something that held up, which was kind of surprising. But again, if you guys haven't already, show your support for the channel down below. It's been growing like crazy, and it's all because of you guys. Now, obviously, this red that we're seeing in the market really got kicked into gear in the latter half of the day. I was actually at my daughter's softball game, if you guys didn't catch my update. And I just saw the market start dropping, and I'm like, what the heck is going on? And news came out about Israel actually striking Iran in its capital, Tehran. And what this has caused is just, again, another sea of uncertainty. I think Ash Crypto actually put it best, right? We're on the verge of this exciting alt season and confidence re-entering the market, and then boom, there's something that got thrust in that just caused this drop in the space. Now, I'll get to this more here in just a moment, but things have kind of escalated here. So Iran has said that this is a declaration of war. They plan to retaliate. Now, the best thing that happened here is the U.S. has distanced themselves from this move from Israel. And I think that's very important. U.S. involvement in this would actually, I think, cause a lot more uncertainty. Now, things we need to prepare for today. So this all happened post stock market hours. I'm expecting stocks to see some red today. We obviously know the price of oil, the barrel price of oil bumped like 10%. So those are the exact things that are definitely going to cause a little bit of concern today. And of course, we're seeing gold on the rise. Not really surprising. Times of uncertainty, people flock to gold. Okay. Now, what I will say here is when we're looking at ADA, there are a couple spots that ADA could in fact stop on the drop if we do continue dropping. All right. We actually are right now at this structure that we were building for basically the bottom back on April 6th, all the way up through the bottoms on June 6th. But understand that we have a potential retest on our longer term trend here, potentially ADA in the next day or two coming down to about 60 cents or so. Really a structural great place to stop would be our 236 level. That's all the way down at about 55 cents. And again, this isn't to scare anybody with the downside price, but I think it's important that people understand that prices could hit these levels if things remain this way, if uncertainty from retail continues. Now, we did in fact close our CME gap in terms of BTC, which is a great sign. You guys can see that here. We did go all the way down actually to 103.1 or so, closing that gap at 104.770. And so we've at least done that. I'll say that. I'm gonna try to find as many silver linings as I can here, but some things that I don't like, of course, ETH back down in that compression range like we were talking about between its 200-day SMA, 200-day EMA. BTC dominance back up to the trend because, of course, retail does not like uncertainty. And so people were, in fact, flocking back to BTC. So I will say here, we have flipped bearish again on the daily stochastic RSI in terms of ADA. On the weekly, we're back in the bearish range as well. This might range all the way down to the oversold range. All right. And that doesn't necessarily mean that you can go through some big drops. You might do exactly what we were talking about here. In fact, our 200-day moving average is actually climbing right now. That's at about 54 cents. So 55 cents kind of seems like a soft landing zone. And people might not like to hear that, but I think it's important that people just be aware of this. We've had times before where we've kind of done what we're doing here, where we get, a little pop out, right? We come back down basically to the range lows, and then that's where we send. This was all the way back in late 2023. So this might actually kind of be a little bit of a rinse and not a rinse and repeat. That's not even the best way to put it. Just kind of a washing of the crypto market, a washing out of the long positions, a washing out of just a lot of the negative crap that we've been dealing with. Obviously, this last run didn't have enough momentum to go higher. What you do is you create a buying event that causes things to essentially restart. That's maybe the best way to put it here. All right. So those are just some things to watch here. Now, that being said, we have had times before where we've had stuff like this take place they've been resolved very quickly, and the market has had some pretty quick instant shots back to the upside. That potential is always there. What I will say was at least a good sign yesterday. One, we had institutional money buying BTC, $164 million worth of BTC accumulated yesterday. Now, I will say a lot of the institutional money is active earlier in the day, kind of midday or so. And so we might see some dumping today from institutional players, just something to watch for. But what I will say is that we did manage to actually close a green note on the Ethereum side. So that was actually now a new record in terms of consecutive days of institutional money adding Ethereum. It's now 19 days is the current record. All right. So that's at least all good. We've had 1.1, where did that go now? We had $1.16 billion in liquidations in the crypto market over the last 24 hours. So leverage has kind of been a big accelerant of this, but we'll just have to watch and wait and see how the day progresses. You guys know me. I'm still bullish long term. I understand that there are drops and shakeouts and negative events in the crypto market that can cause this uncertainty that we're seeing right now. Again, if you've been looking for times to add for cheaper prices, this may be the latest in our series of shakeouts, our series of negative events that gives you opportunities at cheaper prices. Me personally, pretty much tapped out right now as far as fresh capital goes. I'm going to try to see what I can find because, again, I understand that a lot of this stuff will pass over time. We will get to a point where there's a lot more stability and confidence in the market. You're not going to see adoption when stuff like this is going on. Okay, that's kind of where we're at. And I know you guys want to hear some more positivity from me, but I think it's important that you understand both sides of this. It's a negative event. It sucks. For example, if we reference all the way back to 2022, when really the Ukraine-Russia war kicked off, when that first began, which I believe was February 24th of 2022, it was about a month until we actually got some better activity in the market. At that point, it was just a spike. We kind of came back down. We were in a bear market cycle at that point. So a little bit different of a time standpoint there, but understand that this doesn't really change anything from an overall perspective. We're still headed towards mass adoption. Institutional, government, and enterprises are still interested in accumulating crypto. And I think that's the thing that people need to remember here. The noise will eventually quiet down. Actually, we're building kind of just looking at this, we're kind of building again this huge inverse head and shoulders in terms of ADA. Maybe that's something where this is again a double bottom retest here for ADA before we decide to run. We just got to watch and wait and see what happens. Hopefully the noise quiets down. Hopefully it doesn't escalate and get worse. Hopefully U.S. involvement does not become a thing, but we'll just see what happens. So I appreciate you guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know your thoughts below, but have a great day. Catch you guys in the next one. Take care.